This is Robert Phoenix, and this is the Astro Weather. All right, welcome back. Hold on one sec here. Here we go. Let's get the microphone in the right setting. How is everyone today? Let me do one more thing. Robert, did you have your chart of the moment ready today? Tisk. Let's see, where are we? We are now, and now is 11:19. We are almost out of Scorpio, your favorite astrological season of the year. I got into the thumbnails for this Scorpio season. Today, our star of the day is actually on the thumbnail. A rare, what are you doing? Oh, come on. Try this again. Oh, God. Cloudflare has been really, really weird. Have you guys noticed how the internet has been kind of fucked up over the past few days? Hold on a second. We're almost there. I apologize for the slight delay in the festivities. There it is. I don't know. Sometimes. Technology just doesn't want to play nice. Okay, there we go. Back on track. All right. And I'll need the right glasses as well. You gotta have the right glasses. Right, Peaches? Peaches was so cute last night. She was asleep and she looked like a rabbit. There we go. Better to see you with. All right, let's do a quick little Chitaria check-in, and then it's off to the weather we go. Off to the weather we go. Off to the weather we go. DJMC Michael checking in. 12:10 a.m. Helion Heart Rosie, Amy V. The Astro Weather. Thank you, Amy. I am grateful that you're here. I am grateful that I get to wake up and do this. In some degree of physical, what's the word I'm looking for? Functionality. All right. Who else do we have here? Darlene, what's up, Darlene? Misbehaving too. California Contrary KK. How am I doing? I'm doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I went to this meeting yesterday, the county commissioners meeting. A very serious meeting because they're trying to, there's always the they, right? The they. They're trying to bring in these lithium battery storage facilities into the hill country. And all these county commissioners from the different counties are really figuring out, how do we stop this? because these companies are approaching people with private property, saying, "Hey, want to buy your land, right?" Uh, because we just wanted to do a little battery storage facility here, but they're coming at all these different people in all these different counties, and the different counties have different. Some counties have firefighters or fire chiefs and fire commissioners. Some don't. So there's different protocols with how you deal with these companies based on who the point person is. They're trying to work all this out in real time, and boy, Texans are serious, man. They are serious. When these people are connected and united under one cause, and I think this is a bipartisan. I'll talk a little bit more about it over on 15. But when they're connected and united under like one cause, these people can be very effective. Cut through the bullshit, no nonsense. They had a fire chief come in from this Van Zandt County. The guy was impressive. The new next, love the thumbnail. The thumbnail, getting a little exotic today. Diane Evans is here. Hi, Diane. Oh, I skipped over Janine. We don't want to do that. Hi, Janine. Debisu, Barbara Boots, KZN 185. Is that Catherine? Hi, good morning. There he is, the man, Tom Jordan. Julian Ross. Hello, Julian. Good to see you. Ole Kobe in the house. Happy birthday to Mom Jennifer. She'll be watching. Hi, Mom Jennifer. Happy solar return. We hope you have a great day. Sarah Caleb. People are in a good mood, man. Good mood. Thor at the door. Steve is here. Mary Grether checking in from down under. Zerlith, Eternal. Happy Baby Unredacted Files Day. I wouldn't bet on that. They've had plenty of time to deal with those files. Let's see. Healing Heart Rosie is here. There's Bo. What's up, Bo? Jackie Delario. Vivi. We got a Vivi site. Pachinamka. Hello, Pachinamka. Bueno, bueno, bueno. Marie NYC. We all hope that your partner gets through not an easy time. Yeesh. Mercury retrograde surgeries. I don't recommend them. It's sometimes the way these things flesh out, literally, you don't really have any choice in the matter because this is just how the schedules go. So you have to take a Mercury retrograde. And it's not, if they're removing something, like if they're removing a tumor or something like that, Mercury retrograde can be actually quite helpful. Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. And its detriment, I don't know. Could be tricky. But, with God's loving grace, your partner will pull through. And perhaps one of the things with the Mercury retrograde is they'll find something else. And doing the procedure itself leads to discovery of something else, which in turn becomes a more beneficent procedure. So fingers crossed there. Esperanza! Sun Tzu. What's happening, Sun Tzu? Good to see you. Lana Winkler's here. Amy Gill's here. Let's see. Yep. Had a regional internet blackout for a few hours. It's been going around. Amy Gill's stores in my small town systems have been glitched twice this weekend. Yeah, it's been a little spotty for sure. Yep. Also, EU bad internet. The EU was never really set up for internet. The EU is set up for cell phones. They didn't have the major infrastructure and wiring that took place in Europe like they did in the US in the 90s. Massive. That was a massive undertaking. Alyssa, hello, Alyssa. Kim Harvey, appreciate you back, Kim Harvey. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Spirit Gardener. Hi, Spirit Gardener. Carol Lamore. All right, we got the Green-Eyed Crow. We got the Big Cheese, Neil Smith. Triple J, Josie's Jazzy Junk, Matt Burns, Maya Rose, Elspeth Heron. We got a house, man. Melissa Urban is here today. Hi, Melissa. Holy Uranus, lots of unexpectedness. That's right. Checking in from Europa, Maria D'Ange. Hello, Maria. Maya Rose from Mexico. The Moon Sprout is with us. Then Jeff 911. Hey, Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. Happy solar return, Dylan. A lot of really successful people are born in this day. I'll do a little name check. You'd be amazed about the successful people born on this day today. I mean, like big time tycoon sort of success, if that's how you define success. There's plenty of them. Depending on your transits, you may not have any trouble at all, depending. But just Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, not the best, I would say. Not the best, just in general. Let's see. Ninja 911. Yes, happy birthday, Lamb Chop. Hi, Lamb Chop. Note the lawyer is having a massive brain tumor removed yesterday. Lawyer, Mercury in Sagittarius. There you go. That is a good note. Toronto Casper. Hi, Toronto Casper. Lana B. Boy, we have a very eclectic crew. And we even have a Charlie sighting right behind Sun in the right hand. Look at that. We have a very cool crew today. I think I got just about everybody. Oh, and Liddy Lou. Shout out to Liddy Lou. I owe you a phone call. If you're around today, I'll give you a call. And then Katie Lane. Okay, let's get into the weather. Let's get into the weather. We share the weather together. Although that's not going to work, is it? No, it's not going to work. So we remove that. We stop the share. Come on. Put me back there. We try one more time because of the glitch in StreamYard that makes this happen. What? It's back again? Oh, come on, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. I do miss my mother swearing. She could swear pretty good for an old gal. There we go. Let's zoom in here. A little zoom in. Okay. Where's that moon? We are tracking the moon. It is a race. All right. So the sun is at 27. So this moon creeping along here is at 19, about as balsamic as it gets. And then right there is Black Moon Lilith. Boy, it is a scandalous 24-hour period. This is the worst time or the best time for the, remember the Epstein files that weren't there, that they didn't exist? Well, now they're coming out. Funny how it's all just 5D chess. It's like the Enterprise where Spock and Kirk were playing on all those different levels. Oh, look who's here. Speaking of 5D, it's the little rabbit cat, the Astro Weather cat. Yeah, I know. You need to have your little screen time, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. So there's this For a brief period of time, I got into these videos where this black guy was stroking his lizard on YouTube. I know it sounds a little salacious because I meant it to be salacious, but he actually has these lizards. One of them is this beautiful iguana, and the other is this other reptile. And it's like these ASMR videos, and he spends a lot of time peeling dried skin and scales off of his lizards. It's like the weirdest fucking channel, but people love it. This guy gets like 50,000 views, and all he has to do is feed his lizards some lettuce or peel the dead skin off. And he always has water running in the background, so it's like an ASMR thing. And one of the lizards actually like nods his head and shakes it. It's like they got a thing. It's like, wow, that's kind of interesting. The other lizard is like very reptilian. They're very, very reptilian. So it's got to be the Scorpio moon. This thing has popped up during Scorpio season. All the popularity of the ASMR reptile videos. You know you're living in a brand new time when a fucking lizard becomes an internet star. I mean, it's a what is it? What is it? It's like a chameleon, but it's not. It doesn't change colors. It's like vivid orange, red, variegated. I mean, the colors on this thing are beautiful. He's got a personality too. This reptile has a better personality than the reptile con. This other one is a little more complicated in a good way. So, what is going to happen? This is it. We're loading up for tomorrow. So tomorrow was the day that I said circle. I started last week. We got into it on Sunday night, and we are just starting to kick off the reveal of Epstein and what's going on there, or because there, this is a reckoning, right? We are going through something incredibly powerful in this country. I don't know if you've been tracking Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, but they have been just absolutely going at it. Like NTG is, none of us are perfect. Did she fuck around on her husband? Yes. Did she likely have sex with Alex Stein? Yes. I wouldn't hold that against her. I mean, Alex Stein was on a roll. He was Mr. Charismatic, right? And he was being a star fucker. At least that's the rumor. But she has become a champion of the people, an unapologetic champion of the people. She's like, fuck this Israel first stuff. I mean, she is laying it out there. And her and Trump, a couple of Geminis, are going at it. And he has all kinds of choice words and insults for her, choice words and insults for Thomas Massey. I think at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, is this, as a people, how we want to be governed? Because there seems to be a breakdown in this coalition and this new moon in Scorpio, and even the balsamic period, which is literally the filth kind of rising to the top. This is what we're going to see. The filth rising to the top. And with Venus there, it's the sordid relationships. Now, this could actually work out really well, believe it or not, because we're still in Grand Trine territory. And I mean, I think it's ironic, right, that Trump And I'm going to get into this. I put the link for 15 minutes in the chat. But I think it's ironic that Trump ran on this platform for basically 2 terms, with, of course, his gap term in the middle. And it speaks to the power of intention and the spirit of truth, which permeates our universe, whether or not it becomes the law of the land or rights all the wrongs that have ever been wronged in our personal and transpersonal universe. The thing that he set out to do is actually happening. And the weird part is that he is the catalyst for it to happen, but not in the way that he imagined himself being. Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's like all the things, like when you come out that strong from the jump, that would be 2016. And I think most people were willing to give Trump a partial pass on those 4 years. And I'm even willing to give him a partial pass on COVID until the victory laps started happening. But he could have shut the country down. He could have done things that I think would have been perhaps a bit more despotic in the short term, but in the long term would have curtailed the damage of COVID and all of the bullshit regulations around it. So I give him a little bit of a pass for that. The victory laps, I'm not a fan of. Was never a fan of the victory laps. But I guess he had to have some victory lap in the absence of a real victory, which was an election that I do believe was not on the up and up. I have to watch my language here. Still over on YouTube. But he set out to be transparent. He set out to do all these things that the American people have been asking for forever. And it's happening. But the problem is it's happening kind of at his expense. Like he's becoming the poster child for all the things that he campaigned against. It's weird. It is really, really weird. But this is what we're seeing now. Right? So he's delivering on his campaign promise, but he's not doing it consciously. It's happening to him, and he's part of the promise, which is really weird. But this is what you get with Scorpio. It doesn't care. The universe doesn't care. That was your intention. And Donald Trump is big on the power of intention. This is a guy who spent a lot of time with Norman Vincent Peale. He was his prosperity now guru, right? All positive. And as I've mentioned before, he married Trump and Ivania. He was the presiding minister over Donald Trump's wedding. And Peale also happened to be a 33rd degree Mason. Interesting combination of faith and esoteric and occult associations. But this is when you start. Scorpio is all about being intentional. This is a long way around the block to talk about being intentional. That's the nature of Scorpio, right? You want something, I want that. I want that thing. And then what you do is you put your energy into the process of imagining, feeling, embodying all the things that are associated with the thing. If you do that, you will get the thing. I have gotten everything that I've ever wanted in this lifetime, pretty much. It started off when I was young, and I would say, oh, I want this kind of a job. And it would pop up, and I'd get it. I'd get the job. It may not, maybe not happen right away, but I get it. And amongst other things, this is the nature of Scorpio. So when Trump started off, this was his stated intention. These were his words. And when he speaks those words or spoke those words, and people heard them, they took them in. They electrically charged them with their emotions. And so all these batteries are running around with his intention. That's very powerful. And if you, and again, because we're in Scorpio now and it's a fixed sign, if you don't come through and deliver right for him with this intention that he put out there that the rest of the country co-signed on, it's going to catch up to you because that was your intention. And the universe doesn't really care how you get there. Oh, you're the one that's going to get barbecued? Well, it doesn't matter because this is what you sought out to do. This was your gospel. And that is the takeaway here from what's happening now from an astrological metaphysical. So the universe doesn't give a shit. That was your intention. Now you're a part of your own process because you couldn't do it in a way where you were on top of it versus being underneath it. And I think they needed all this time to redact files, remove certain donors. Now, don't think that there aren't. See, Israel's got everything. They have everything. They have all the files. And that's what they've been using to extort and blackmail politicians. I mean, it was a Mossad, CIA honey trap, right? I think we can all pretty much agree on that. I don't think there's a lot of dissent in that area. That if there is, and you may want to reevaluate your position on this. So they've got all the stuff. Now, it may have taken them this long to have Kash Patel not spend quality time with Alexis so they could work directly on protecting certain people inside of those emails or the files or whatever they are, right? But that's just one area. Now he's dealing with this other stuff coming through Jeffrey Epstein's brother and the author Michael Wolff. Whatever you think of those emails, if there's any more, I don't know. Maybe they've released them all. Trump has a he has a gambler's way of riding out the storm. Like, how many crises has this guy been in his entire adult life? A lot. And he's probably, pretty numb in some ways to the effects of pressure and the external world. But he's had a really good run with a lot of people behind him. So it's easy to use those people as kind of a vast ocean of human shields. But they're starting to break ranks. And it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene or Thomas Massie or Rand Paul. But the electorate is starting to break ranks. So when the electorate breaks ranks, you're not holding the line. And that makes the like the majors and generals, it makes them vulnerable because they're behind the lines, and Trump is a general. So when you break ranks like that, he becomes more vulnerable. So yes, he's had crises. Yes, he's overcome these crises. He's sort of like Rasputin. You can't kill him. But this is going to be the biggest test for Donald Trump yet. We'll get into more of that over in 15 minutes. Mercury's gone into Scorpio, by the way, right there. So now we've got this stellium all of a sudden in Scorpio. It looked like We're moving forward, Sagittarius. The brightness of the holy fire of Sagittarius, the sacred flame, illuminating the inner sky, and all of a sudden now we're back in the darkness again. We've crawled back into this cave, but it's part of what we need to go through. I mean, this is on just a collective level, and we're so tied to the collective now. And it's all the outer planets, and just wait until Neptune, Saturn move forward. But if he's going to get through this, he's going to have to pull a real rabbit out of his hat. Meanwhile, there's more saber rattling with Colombia and Venezuela, because Venezuela has the largest petroleum reserve in the world. When people were living there under Hugo Chavez, they were paying like 10 cents a gallon of gas. Now, it didn't matter that they were making $1 a day, because that 10 cents went a lot. You could go pretty far. You could spend half your paycheck and put 5 gallons of gas on your car for that day. Probably get around just fine. But I wouldn't say it's weird, because we've had retrograde seasons before. But this retrograde season with Venus, pretty far behind the sun. Like, Venus is just, it's not visible. And yet when you have the moon, this balsamic moon, which is connected, it's like its midpoint between it and the sun, there tends to be how would I say this? A magnetic transference of dark intel. So we have Venus, we have this grand trine. There's good things happening, but a lot of it doesn't look like it's good on the surface. So for those of you that are struggling out there right now, try to use this period as, if you want to tell yourself a reasonable story, that this period that we're in now is a rebalancing period, that everything that's happening is for the betterment of you as an individual, even if it looks like you're moving backwards. That's a hard one to muster, but keep that in mind with all this retrograde. Just it's the age-old adage, I'm going through this for a reason. What is the reason? Sometimes if you go deeper, you'll find it. Sometimes you just have to go through it and persevere and humble yourself. That's been part of my situation, is the humbling of oneself, going, oh yeah, I don't feel all that young anymore, right? It's not that I feel decrepit and old, but there's a period where, and some of you might know this, and God bless you, I hope you're still there, but you're older and you go, my body may not feel 40, but my brain and everything else feels 40 about me. And there are a lot of people that are like that. And I still have those moments. But after this last August, I don't have, it's different now. I don't have that pueric sense of immortality, so it really does a number on your brain. Not that my brain is old or fuzzy or anything. I'm still very clear, and I'm able to deliver at this level. But you look at certain situations, right? Like, I'll just probably not full disclosure. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that one. I was about to have full disclosure on something that I thought was interesting, but I'm not going to do it because Mercury is retrograde. Is there anything we need to pay attention to? Well, we're still in that Sun Uranus opposition. Those can be very shocking. So if you come across a shocking moment, just realize that there's the potential for that. And you don't have to get all wound up and hypervigilant. Oh, is something going to happen? And I need to be prepared. You just stay aware. Just stay aware. Breathe. Be aware of your awareness. And anything that comes across your path, you'll be fine. As long as you're in the moment. As long as you're in the moment. And try not to think about your debt too much, as there is, I think, a kind of an overcompensation with all that right now, with all this retrograde in Scorpio. That'll take you out of the moment for sure. I still think there's great energy in the air. Look at this grand trine, but you may have to wait for it to come to fruition. You may have to wait a bit when Mercury goes direct. Saturn going to be going direct here in the not so distant future, right? So all, Jupiter not till next year, March 11th of next year. Saturn, Neptune both go direct, I think February 15th together into Aries. They'll be direct before then. So a lot of these planets will go through their direct motion. Uranus will go through one more period of retrograde in Taurus next year. So we're not quite fully in Uranus and Gemini. But when we get into those outer planets, which I've said before, they're dry. There's not a lot of, this is it with Jupiter in Cancer. We're not going to have Jupiter in a water sign for 1, 2, 3, 4 more years when it gets into Scorpio. Like that'll be our next phase of Jupiter water sign. After Aries, Saturn goes into Taurus. That's Earth. We won't have Saturn in another water sign until Cancer, and that's 3, 6, 9 years from now. So this whole idea of water is going to get really, really valuable. Really, really valuable. So soak it up while you can. If you can find a property that has a well, I would do it. I would definitely do it. Okay. By the way, the real estate market is moving. I've been looking at certain areas, and there are a lot of houses in this one area I've been looking at that are in pending mode. So they're not on the market forever. So some areas are moving. And if you are needing to sell a house for whatever reason, maybe it's BlackRock, maybe they've decided that they want more houses. Who knows? All right, let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. Before I do this, let me put up the banner. Do we have the banner? Yeah, the banner's there. So let me. I wanted to bring in the people that are born today. Like there are some very interesting characters. A lot of them very powerful, and again, depending upon your idea of what success is. Let me just show you who's born today, and then we'll get into our star of the day. Okay, so let's see, who do we got here? Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. I don't want to miss anybody. MacGyver. Today's MacGyver's birthday. Richard Anderson. Okay, Roy Campanella, the great catcher from the Brooklyn Dodgers. Dick Cavett. Dick Cavett was very successful. I was almost going to do Dick Cavett in his chart, but I chose not to. Who else? Let's see. Today's Jodie Foster's birthday. She's pretty successful. Indira Gandhi, like one of the first female prime ministers. James Garfield, president. We had a president, Scorpio president, James Garfield. Who else? Stephen Hill. That's my guy from Music from the Heart of Space. Happy birthday, Stephen. Let's see. Larry King. Larry King is very powerful. We're not talking about Talcum X. We're talking about Late Night Larry, right? Very powerful. Powerful dude. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Missing Child 46116. That's weird. Jack Dorsey. I missed his name. He's over here. Jack Dorsey from Twitter. You have to admit, right? Jack Dorsey was incredibly powerful for a brief period of time. Am I right? So Jack Dorsey, Larry King. Let's see. You also have Ted, what's his name? Billy Sunday, the preacher. Who else? There was some Ted Turner, another powerful person. Clifton Webb, who was on the show, I believe That's My Mama, where he played a guy who had a barbershop. And his buddy was Earl the Postman. Earl the Postman got around. He had a lot of roles in TV back in the day. Let's see. But so there's some powerful people born today. Yeah, Ted Turner. Yeah, Meg Ryan, who did one of the best fake orgasms. Leave it up to a Scorpio to do that. Okay, I think that's it. Let's see our star of the day. Our star of the day is Ofra Haza. And this is a C-rated chart, but I love Ofra Haza. When I was young, I was smitten by Ofra Haza. And when I look at her chart, I completely understand why. Yes, she was exotic, and she was a Yemenite Jew. And the thing about Ofra Haza that's interesting, by the way, this is brought to you by True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. They got a 20% off now for first-time buyers. So it's a way for you to get in. Go on over there and type in 15MINS when you check out, and you get a goodie bag on top of it. Go $150 more, you get free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. All right. Ofra Haza. This is from the record Kirya. And she was Israeli Yemenite, and she had this really interesting way of bringing both of those cultures together. There was a lot of like Arabic influence in her music, and there was a lot of like old Semitic. She's a Semite. Ofra Haza is a Semite, born in Tel Aviv, 1957, and this is a C-rated chart, so we'll just kind of roll with it. And the one thing that you get with Ofra Haza in her songs and her music is like a really intense and deep sensuality. But it's like, I would call, at the risk of sounding corny, like a sacred sensuality, like tied into this interesting kind of interface between the passion of God and the passion of a woman and a man, right? Like you kind of get this, and she has this incredible voice. And there's a period where she's very traditional, like very traditional rhythms. And I think Shawnee started to put her music out in the US. And then she goes on Eurovision. I don't know if she won Eurovision or not. She goes on Eurovision and she begins to make this shift into more commercial music. And she, in Allow, which I'm going to play over on 15 Minutes, is a song that really puts her on the map, both visually, sonically. Like, it's perfect. It's a perfect mix of electronic beats and this kind of soaring, beautiful voice with this kind of yearning and passion. Like, you get that with her music, right? And there's something mystical and profound, even if you can't translate whatever the hell she's saying. There's just this feel to it, right? And that's Neptune on the midheaven. She has this Mars Neptune conjunction, which is, I think, really intoxicating. And she has this Mars Pluto sextile in her chart as well. Pluto right there at the beginning of Virgo. And her true node is in Scorpio. So she is here to connect with sort of the sultry nature of her feminine power, right? And she has Jupiter and the moon conjunct Spica. Like, this is somebody who was just absolutely wired for stardom. And she was going there. And she was doing duets with Iggy Pop, Sisters of Mercy, like really interesting stuff. She's stretching the boundaries. Again, I feel like this is like really Neptunian. She starts off again in this very kind of very traditional sort of Yemeni, clothing, attire, songs, rhythms, and then she's doing a duet with the Sisters of Mercy eventually, right? So she's, expanding her repertoire. You see this with Sagittarius, and she's got that Mercury Uranus trine. It's almost exact. When you hear her with Iggy Pop, you're like, my God, this is a great duet. And it's the duets, the Moon Jupiter conjunction in Libra, where she gets traction with other audiences and other worlds. So she was really, really interesting. Super, super interesting. So, I was like, well, why was I attracted to this woman besides the fact that she was sensual and sexy? My Venus is right on her moon Jupiter. It's like, oh, yeah, there's something there, right? And then her Mars is on my Neptune, and her Venus is on my Saturn. So in this chart, she's a Capricorn rising. And the unfortunate thing about Ofra Haza, she dies young. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe we're just being like myopic. And it wouldn't be, maybe dying young helps cement her, her legend or her story in some ways. She dies at 41 with from pneumonia with complications of AIDS. She got involved in a bad relationship. And you can see this here with Venus, right? It's the most stressed planet in her chart. It's on her ascendant, so she's going to be noticed, right? She's going to be noticed for her Venusian traits. But, Venus is here and it's in a square with Jupiter, and she probably trusted the wrong person. And I tried to get to the bottom, and it was like the guy she was with at the time was like really abusive. And somehow this leads to her having HIV and pneumonia and her body shutting down. It's a weird story. When I look back on it now, knowing what we know now, with being born in Tel Aviv and crossing all these boundaries and borders, like the Arabic, Islamic, Judaic sort of dividing line, the dividing line between older traditional Yemeni Sephardic love songs and then Eurovision, right? She's crossing all these boundaries, and you have to wonder if somebody like this could have gone on to be like a peacekeeper, or somebody who has a way of bringing people together versus tearing them apart. And then the next thing you know, at 41, she's gone. And maybe it's just the fact that she was involved in a bad relationship, and the person that she was with was not very well on a number of levels. But then again, looking back through a Mercury retrograde conspiratorial lens, was she taken out? I mean, you have to sort of ask yourself these questions now. So Chiron and Aquarius, where does she fit in, right? Where does she fit in? She's kind of a misfit. She's Jewish, but she's also kind of Yemeni, and she's trying to find her ground in a world where, well, you've got to be this or you've got to be that. And Chiron squares her Neptune and squares her Mars, and I think she's defiant. She's not going to be defined by any one culture. She'll sample her own diversity, right, in a good way. Very fascinating, really fascinating person. Beautiful music, a super top heavy chart, and I even with Mars on her midheaven, was she targeted, or was she just destined to kind of flame out? With Mars there. Is that just the nature of the beast? Anyway, there's your True Hemp Science star. The relationship's not easy for this person. Uranus in the 7th house. And there's that opposition with Chiron, which we see often with Uranus, but also squaring her Mars. There are people that wanted to control her. I can tell you that right now. My intuitive hit from her chart is there were people that were trying to control her. This was not a controllable person. She's got that Sun-Pluto square. Very intense. So come join me on 15. We'll play a track of her music, and we'll get into the sideshow, the latest on the sideshow. Okay, that's it. That does it for today. If you're still here, hit like and subscribe. If you did like it and you'd like to subscribe, hit notifications, ring the bell, and you will be alerted to this show that happens 8 a.m. Tuesday through Thursday. Chataria, thank you very much for being here, showing up, lending your support, and lending your support to one another. We are, in that regard, God incarnate. We are each other's brothers and sisters. We are each other's keepers. And that was pretty evident yesterday at that meeting. So hats off to the locals here. They were all on the same page. Have yourselves a great day. And we'll be back here tomorrow on Thursday. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart, say what's possible. God bless. Love you all. Treat each other well. Bye for now.